with his students. For example, you have the Divine Primeander, which features flashes of Egyptian esoteric wisdom, as well as the development of the soul. Or his best known, almost complete, The Good Shepherd. Some passages resemble the Gospel of John, and other parts are reminiscent of Plato's Timaeus. We also have a few magical treatises, with the main theme being astrology, and the subject of alchemy, which is somewhat vaguely touched upon. So we have a bit of his works. Little survives. As I mentioned, we only have a bit. Little survives of the original Hermetic school and its teachings. But we do know that mystical philosophy, ceremonial magic, astrology, and alchemy were all part of the curriculum, all part of the course of study. We also know that the historical HT was held in high esteem because only he could decipher the hieroglyphics and symbols on the temple walls. The already ancient inscriptions had decayed so much that the priests could no longer read them. The legend of HT states that he reigned as king for 3,226 years, and that he wrote, well, over 36,000 books. Well, classical sources list the total of books at 42. 42 books that were carried in procession after his death in a once-a-year festival. This is stated by Clement of Alexandria. Scholars explain the high volume of output by this semi-mythical philosopher king as the anonymous writings of Egyptian philosophy, authors that signed their works with the name Thoth, giving them the authenticity and venerability of wisdom and age. Essentially, a massive anthology of anonymous Neoplatonic, Kabbalistic, and early Christian writers who passed themselves off as ancient Egyptian sages, as ancient Egyptian wisdom. This is a legendary text becomes a legend within the legend itself, the Emerald Tablet, which, according to the sacred story, HT is said to have inscribed all of Egyptian philosophy, including the magical secrets of the universe. Legend says that the Emerald Tablet can be found in the hands of HT's mummy, deep down below in an obscure pit where his interred body lies. Another sacred story tells of HT's body mummified and laid to rest inside the Great Pyramid of Giza. Somewhere within this complicated amalgamation of truth, legend, and myth, well, rests the real story. And the truth is that the book, the Emerald Tablet, does indeed, in fact, exist, with the earliest known copy being the Leiden Papyrus, found inside the tomb of an anonymous magician in Thebes. This is around 1828 or so, give or take. We also have a number of other papyrus copies from the mid-13th century BC, and also some later Greek and Latin translations. Now, there is much controversy over the age and authenticity of this Emerald Hermetica. Some scholars believe that the books are not of Egyptian origin, but were written later by the early Christians, especially the Gnostic Christians. Well, at any rate, no two versions are alike. No two versions are the same, which is part of the problem. The Emerald Tablet's first appearance in Europe is in Muslim or medieval Muslim Spain, in the Sectorium. This is translated by Kitab Sir al-Asar. This is a book of advice to kings that is thought to date to the 9th century A.D. Now, the Arab text is then translated into Latin by Johannes Mephinius. This is around 1140 A.D., and Philip of Tripoli. This is about a century later, around 1240 A.D. or so. So these two translations, the Latin translations, have similarities or parallels to the Syriac Book of Treasures and Job of Odessa. These are from the 9th century A.D., as well as similarities to the Greek writings of Bishop Nehemias of Emesa in Syria. This is in the 4th century A.D. So the true origins of this Western European version of the Emerald Tablet are well uncertain and unknown. As I mentioned, we have only incomplete papyrus texts dating back to 1300 BC or so. So in essence, a complete original text does not survive. Only translations that are attributed by scholars to early Arabic alchemy and to Chinese alchemy. Some scholars even believe them to be of Atlantean origin. Some people believe that the Book of Thoth and the Emerald Tablet were written in Atlantis. The Emerald Tablet may be our oldest surviving alchemical texts, as well as another link. This is, of course, another link to ancient Egyptians. As early as 2900 BC, the Egyptians had mined gold, and the precious metal was obtained from quartz that was ground by hand mills and later refined and standardized. The secret process was considered sacred and closely guarded by the priests of Amun. This sacred chemical operation was accompanied by magical incantations, spells said to have been written by the wise poet and artist Imhotep I. So the land of the Nile has an ancient link to alchemy and the transmutation of base metals. And the Latin transcriptions are very important to the Western esoteric magical tradition. Now, was the Emerald Tablet literally made of emerald? Well, the Greeks and Egyptians used the term emerald for green granite, green jasper, as well as, of course, emerald. The emerald is linked to the color green because it has sacred symbolic significance. The stone was often consecrated and made holy, symbolic for purity, faith, fertility, spring, immortality, and the moon, another link to Thoth. Now, green is also the color of spiritual well-being, the color of wisdom, and the color of the prophets. The emerald is also one of the jewels of Holy Jerusalem and a highly effective talisman. And the illumination of emerald green light, the green ray, plays a major role in occultism and alchemical philosophy. What is the Emerald Tablet all about? Well, the ancient text, how ancient? Well, your guess is as good as mine. Well, it speaks of a universal truth on many levels, and some believe or perceive the book to be the ultimate divine truth. I'm going to break down this complicated treatise as best I can. Let's start with what is above is like that which is below. An infinite up and down continuum. And since it is infinite, any point is the center. The one, i.e. the divine, equals the universal mind. The universal mind that contemplates and mediates all things into existence. All things that exist are a reflection, a mirror of the universal mind's divine power. The archetypes of fire and light, male and female, are the quintessence